And first and foremost, welcome. How are you, Danny?
Hello, hello. It has been a week and I'm ready for a drink, so this is perfect timing. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I love your T-shirt. I mean, you're over here repping for
Let me move my glass.
magic. I'm so here for it. It's interesting we both wore white today because we didn't plan this. Just in case anybody's wondering, we never talk about what we're wearing before, but we always seem to coordinate. So I guess it
We
must
do.
be energy. I like
Yes, I agree. I think it is. Yes.
it.
Okay,
So
let me jump into it.
yeah, what's on that? Tell
All
us
right.
what the cocktail is and what we eat.
Okay, so today we are doing a spiked strawberry lemonade. And it's really nice outside today, and we're getting more into the spring. It's nice and sunny. So I think actually it's still the spiked lemonade, but we're gonna do more of a froze.
Oh,
Have you had a froze?
I have. I
Okay.
actually, the first time I had one, I was at the Google headquarters in New York, and they had like a whole frozen machine, which was really, really
Mm,
cool. Yeah, I guess at Google they do things fancy, and I was like,
right.
this is kind of good. I would have never done it had I not had it there. So shout out to Google. But yes, I've had one, so they're delicious. But now you're going to show us how to make one at home.
Yes, how to make one at home. And I feel like this is kind of like the drink of last summer, but because last summer is like null and void, like we're just gonna act like it never happened because of COVID and all that crazy stuff. This is a drink you can still make at home and definitely drink throughout the whole entire spring, summer. I mean, you can go to the fall and winter if you want to. I won't tell nobody, but
Okay.
it's definitely a good drink for a warm, beautiful day like today. Okay, so it's super super easy. You just need a blender. I have my NutriBullet here,
Okay.
and you're just gonna build in your glass here.
Okay.
I'm gonna fix my camera just so you guys can see.
Sure. Sure. All I know is I'm excited. I love the summer primarily because of all the activities you can do. I don't so much care for the 80 and the heat, but I can
What?
live. I'm a winter baby, so I like it a little chilly.
Uh, I love this. I love the heat. Like I'm a person that wants to go to Arizona in August. Like I like it to be hot. I like it to be like, oh my God, where's the pool? Where's the beach? I'll sit out here all day. I love the sun. I love getting a tan. Definitely still wear your, sunscreen and all that. But yeah, that's me. I love like a good drink
Yes,
outside when it's nice and hot. That's what
that
I'm all about.
that's what makes summer happy. That what makes me happy during summer, I should say. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So this one right here is it. This is
Okay.
it. This is what you'll be drinking all summer. So to get started, I have some lemonade that was pre-squeezed and I did it beforehand. But if you have lemonade like Simply Lemonade or your favorite lemonade from whatever store you go to, use that. Like we don't want this to be too difficult. We don't want this to be something that's like, I don't want to make this damn drink because I don't want to work that hard. Because it's all about leisure. It's all about summer. It's about, spring and summer
Yeah,
and enjoying a good cocktail. Right?
agreed.
Okay, so
Agreed.
I have some lemonade here. I have some fresh strawberries. I just washed them. Make sure you wash your strawberries beforehand. I have a glass of ice here. And of course, we have Tito's. Always have our Tito's right here on this happy hour. I have a sweetener. I'm using agave. You guys can use sugar. You can use simple syrup. They all work the same. Just something that's going to sweeten up that drink for you. And
Okay.
then I have a little baby bottle of some sparkling rosé. Okay. Okay. So to get started, what you're going to do is take your strawberry, and just cut off the green stems. We don't need that for our rosé spiked lemonade. We don't really need that. So you're just going to take those off. That's what I'm doing now.
So as she's cutting those strawberries, I want to that. What are you all drinking? I mean, I had to outsource my cocktail, my pre-cocktail, because you always know I try to recreate what Danny does. I don't tell
Mm-hmm.
anybody this in case I mess up. So at the at the end of an episode, I try to always try to recreate it. Sometimes I'm successful. Sometimes I'm like, okay, clearly, but most of the time I'm successful. So I see margarita. Somebody's drinking a margarita in the chat. I'm actually drinking a jalapeno margarita myself.
Ooh, where's that from?
But this is from Taqueria in Union. As a
Okay.
matter, really, really, it's really good. It's doing the job. It's doing the job.
Okay. I'm all for spicy drinks. I sometimes like overdo it. Like I'm like, give me the spice. I want it to burn my mouth. But like
That's
everybody doesn't like it that spicy, so I know that if I'm making it, not to go too far. But it is really good. I love that's like my go-to.
yeah.
Next I'm just adding that sweetener. This is about so I added about 4 whole strawberries This right here, I'm going to add my agave. It's going to be about a tablespoon of agave. So just squeeze it out there. Nice and sweet. Because what happens is when you add that ice that we're going to do later, it kind of dulls your drink down. So you want that initial mixture to be very, very sweet and very almost like sour and sweet. You want it to be very overly flavorful because it's going to be toned down with that ice. So next I'm going to add my lemonade. And then I'm going to add my lovely Tito's here. I'm going to add, this is one of those drinks that you can do arranged. If you really want your drink to be super, super strong, this is a drink that has so many other things going on. You can make it strong and it's not going to taste really, really, really strong. So you can always add a little bit more. Some of the drinks I make here, if you go over, it's like, why, you know, it's not good. Some drinks, I know you like your drink strong, but sometimes you don't want it to be so strong where it's like, I should have just took a shot out of the bottle, you know, like that takes away from the cocktail. But this drink right here, you can add a little bit extra and it's okay. So I'm going to add, I'm freehanding today, but I've been doing this. So this is about 2 shots right there. Okay. If you're at home and you want to measure yours out, do what you got to do. Okay. This is one of those like easy breezy. If it tastes bad, just add in a little bit of extra. Do what you got to do. It's like that like mom cooking, like no measurements. You just like throw it in there, keep tasting, see how it tastes, you know. So this is one of those easy ones. So that's all you need. And you're going to put your top on, make sure it's nice and secure, and gonna blend it all up. Okay. And I'm blending before I add the ice, just to note. Make sure you guys do that. And the purpose here is to make sure that your strawberries are nice and blended up. I know maybe if anybody has any questions about maybe muddling instead of using a blender, if you don't have a blender, you can do that, but the flavor is not going to be as nicely mixed together, nicely married together if you just muddle. Yeah. So you definitely want to use that blender if you have one. And then you can even take a little taste in between. Yeah. Make sure it's where you want it to be. Definitely is where I want it to be. It tastes very good already. And then after that, you're going to add your ice. I might need some more ice than this, actually. But we'll see what it's looking like.
So, Danny, you have a couple of questions in the chat while you're mixing. So one question is, did you try the new Ciroc? So that's one question that they dropped in there.
That's a good question. I actually have not, surprisingly. I have to get out and try it. I feel like Ciroc is that summer drink. Like, every summer they drop a new flavor and everyone has to, like, run and get it and, you know, try it out. But I haven't. But it's a good idea. I might have to include that in Drinks with Danny. Upcoming video. I'll definitely try out that new Ciroc and see what it's talking about. I'll be honest with you guys and let you know if it actually is worth your money.
One of our other viewers wanted to know, how long do you blend on the first step? So when you're blending on that first step, how long should you forward? Make sure
the blending that took me about 20 seconds, not that long. It depends on how strong your blender is, and it depends on how many strawberries you have in there. The purpose is all about the look of it. You want to make sure those strawberries are completely blended up and you don't see like big chunks of strawberry in your mixture. That's what you want.
You don't
want that. They already have the seeds. You don't want chunks of strawberry in there. Exactly. So this right here is about like a slushy consistency. I personally like mine like this because I don't want a lot of ice, that heavy. You don't want it to taste like a snow cone, you know? Yeah. You want to be able to still taste that flavor that we already mixed up together. So this is perfect for me. I hope you guys can see the consistency of it when I pour it into my glass. It's a little looser than most would, but I like it. I like it like this. So I can taste it.
I want to get it through the straw, so I'm...
Right, exactly. So that's what it looks like. Nice and frothy and good. And then what you're going to do is you're going to top it off with your rosé.
Yeah. Now, I do have a question. What if you have a friend that's allergic to strawberries? Because I have a friend that's actually allergic to strawberries, and she can never do anything strawberry. What would be a good substitute for the strawberries?
Ooh, there's so many. Honestly, you could do any fruit. You could do mango, blueberry, peach. I'm not sure. People who are allergic to strawberries also allergic to like other like raspberries or blackberries.
You know what? This is a good question. Now I gotta ask.
Okay, but if not, she can also do raspberry, blackberry. Like the sky's the limit. You know, the sky's the limit. You can definitely do whatever works for you. Whatever you're not allergic to. Okay, I'm gonna pop this. I don't know. I'm probably the only like mixologist out there that's scared of popping bottles. Not my thing. Usually, if my boyfriend was here, I'd have him do it. Oh wait, look. It's not that bad, I don't think.
Okay.
Good. I was expecting like some like big boom, whatever. Okay, so you're just gonna now pour this on top, get those bubbles in there. You guys might not be able to see them, but they are definitely bubbling. And then that is it. If you want to be a little, you know, take it to the next level. Okay. You can always add a little strawberry on top. And then you can also add a little bit of greenery on top, you know, add a little flavor. And there you go. That's our, you know, spiked strawberry Frosé. Spiked strawberry frosé. Say that 10 times fast. And of course, the best part of this whole segment, I gotta taste it.
Yeah, let us know. When?
That is really good, and I'm not just telling y'all that because I made it. This is the drink of the spring, summer, winter, fall, all the above. This is really, really good. It's nice and chill. No chunks. I even like the little froth on top. It makes me feel a little fancy. You definitely taste the strawberry. You definitely taste that lemonade. And you also, that Tito's is always chilling in the back. It's always chilling, but it always does what it's supposed to do.
I would have to agree with you. And not only that, I have to agree with our chat. Our chat is low-key lit. They're saying that it looks like that drink belongs near a poolside.
Yes.
Agree. And there was another comment that said it's the rosé for me. So I think you won them over with the fact that you're infusing rosé with hard liquor, with fruit. It's sort of like a summer win for all for everybody, right?
Yes. That's what I was going for. I'm so happy that you guys are loving it. Definitely try this at home. And it's not hard.
Yeah.
If you have a blender, this can be done just like, how long did this take? Maybe like 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes, I bet.
This is it. If you got a little patio, a little balcony in your place, or a deck in the back, make a few of these for you and your friends, hang out. That's what this is all about. This right here. This is so good.
Well, I'm glad that it tastes as good as it looks. And I'm hoping that, again, I always say this at every episode, we'll be reunited again soon at the museum so I can taste some of these amazing cocktails that you're making. I'm always like, I wish I was there. When it comes I wish I, was able to have some of the cocktail that you're making. Every Friday we have this opportunity to connect because they always look delicious.
Thank you.
With that, for all of you who love this, definitely make sure you follow Danielle Perriman. Can you shout out your IG really quickly for them who make?
Yes, it is my first name, Danielle. Last name is Perriman, like the fruit pear, so PEAR, man, MAN_. Kind of long, but if you just search the hashtag Drinks with Danny, DANNIE, then you can find me on Instagram and you can see all of my lovely drink videos. And I'll make a video as well so I'll post this so then you guys can see how to make this later on. You want to run it back.
Please do. And as Danny highlighted, these posts, they live on our IG at the end, but we also repost these onto our Facebook as well as our YouTube and I believe even our Periscope, right? And Twitter. So you can find Danny not only here at the Newark Museum of Art, but you can also find Danny on her own platform with Drinks of Danny. I believe it's every Thursday she drops a new cocktail recipe.
I do.
So make sure you check in because, if you want to keep that party lit, Danny's the girl, the go-to. Just saying. But as always, thank you for joining us, Danny. I want to go ahead and bring on my artist next. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Elijah. We definitely appreciate it. How are you doing, first and foremost?
I'm great. I'm on vacation right now. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm wishing I was on vacation right now. I'm a little jealous to hear, but eventually it'll come. But I will get into some of what you're doing in your vacation in a second. But before we do, I want to just quickly go through a little background for our audience who may or may not know who you are. So just to drop some little gems on our viewing audience, in case you didn't know who Elijah Minton, aka the Art Alchemist, is, Elijah Minton is an educator, muralist, and community advocate. If you've ever eaten in Brooklyn, gotten cookies in New Jersey, been near or around the World Trade Center in NYC, or maybe even enjoyed live music in the city at Paramount, then you've probably seen some of his work. He's a dynamic artist with a humble spirit, and it is my honor to have him on our show today. So again, I just want to thank you for taking out this time. Now, I don't want to like hold us up. I want to just kind of like jump right into the questions. So to kick it off with my first question, I'm going to ask from the reference of, because you're a muralist artist, right? And that's a very specific way of creating art. As a muralist artist, the works you create take time and are massive in scale. What inspired you to jump from the canvas to the walls, essentially, creating what we will call in the art world community art?
So my connection to the public art world began actually in preschool because the girl who ran the after school program tagged the whiteboard. And from that moment, I started drawing.
Oh,
and
wow.
I always wanted to be a graffiti artist, but I didn't want to get in trouble for that. So when I finally did get into art, I was doing canvas, and that was kind of a struggle financially. And I started doing murals, and it's basically connected to what I wanted to do in the first place. So
That's actually kind of cool. I mean, that's a clever way of being able to live your dream as a graffiti artist without without getting in trouble. You're able to still draw and write on buildings, but you know you do it because it's commissioned. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of really cool. So speaking of community, you've worked with quite a few prestigious community-based organizations. One being the Urban Resource Institute in New York, aka URNIYC. Their services are centered around creating safe shelter for domestic violence survivors and homeless families. How did you get involved with them? And can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind some of the work you've created for them?
yeah, so that was an interesting situation where an interior designer, I guess they had hired an interior designer to find artists, and she reached out to me through email. And at the time, all I knew was that it was a nonprofit. So I actually ended up getting the job because I priced it since it's for something that I figured, I agree with. But I didn't know what it was. So once I started working with them, a lot of the pieces that I've done have been specific to each location. And the first couple I did were locations where residents who were domestic violence victims can live with their pets. But the thing about these locations is that they're all private and hidden, so I haven't really been speaking much about it. But when it comes to the messaging behind the artwork, it's really to help a lot of the residents in a state of transition. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the artwork you see is kind of about moving from city life to the dream of, different things that they might want to do, but usually ending up in a nice home and a nice, pleasant situation. But then there's also a lot of animals incorporated because they're with their pets. Mm-hmm. So.
Oh, that's really, really nice. So it kind of gives them this symbiotic home feel, even though they're not in their yet permanent home. It's kind of really cool how you came up with that, or what inspired that. But since we're on the topic of the city and NYC, you are also included on a project with the World Trade Center. What did that entail? And is your work accessible to us regular folk who might want to see or check it out in person?
So that site is actually not accessible to the public. I did it for Zola.com, which is, it's a big, wedding registry type of thing. That project was a huge learning experience for me It was the first commercial, that was a commercial project. So there's a difference between when I'm creating something specifically for, like, in my style, or when I'm just giving input and basically painting the design that they want me to.
Yeah.
That was one of those situations. And, I learned a lot. It definitely was a lot of hard work, because the thing about me is I've been learning on the job.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's things that I know now that would have sped the process up. But at that time period, I was in there poking my brush into little holes, trying to fill a wall, instead of now the sprayer I have, which, so it was a cool experience, though. Definitely with, going through security clearance every day, taking the train into the city. It's kind of like a never-ending adventure with this girl stuff.
Okay, that's cool, and I think that's something to be said as an entrepreneur and as an artist who's an entrepreneur, that that constant learning on the curve, right? Like I think one of my best professors always says you're always learning, and if you ever fall out of line with that or lose sight of that, that's when you're in trouble. So the fact that you're able to speak to the fact that I'm learning on the job, this is on job training, and then be okay and comfortable with that is a really, really big deal. Now, I do want to underscore some of your work outside the community, because quite notably, you've done a lot of work with community and community projects, but you've also had the opportunity to create amazing pieces for celebrities in their homes. You've had the opportunity to create a beautiful mural for businesswoman, entrepreneur, and philanthropist Angela Simmons, who also happens to be hip hop royalty's daughter, Rev Run, from super rap group Run DMC. How did you even connect with her, and what's the inspiration behind the custom work you did at her residence?
So with Angela, that was an interesting situation. I had actually just lost a big job with East Orange, and I was kind of in a funk. And then randomly, I got an email, and it was kind of like Angela, but it didn't say Angela Simmons. So I'm talking to her normal, and then she was like, "Hey, here's my Instagram, blah blah blah." And I was like, oh. And the only issue was that she was more so looking for a type of style art that I want to do, but I hadn't done yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, she's really for working with people of color, I think. Yeah. And I really appreciate her for giving me the opportunity. But as far as the piece goes, she gave me some examples of the style she wanted. I really took a look at her entire space, which was never really shown. So it actually matches a lot of artwork that's already in her apartment. And I just love the colors and the movement that was created. And for me, it was like, once again, I'm learning on the job with the abstract piece. I could have been scared and passed up the opportunity. Like, I've never done this before, I'm not ready. But I just took it.
You dove in. You just dove in head first. I love that. I mean, I think that's what makes an artist dynamic, right? Because, some of your best, just being an artist myself, some of my best work happens when I'm just like, okay, I've never done this before, and I'm gonna just sort of just let my gut lead me. Some people say they let God lead them as they work through the work, but yeah, some of your best projects end up coming out that way. So that sounds like a grand opportunity. You got to do something you've never done before, but also do it with an individual who works in a field where she works with she has contacts with limitless artists, and she chose you. So that's a really, really big deal. Congratulations on that. I do want to transition into what I highlighted or underscored earlier when I did the intro. So when I did my intro, I made sure to spotlight educator, because you and I both have something in common, and that's that we both want to empower the next generation. Can you share with us how you started these free art and entrepreneur classes for kids and family, and what led you to take up space in your community to spearhead this?
So the art and entrepreneurship class was inspired by a class I took when I was in 5th grade. It was It was called Nifty at what's the college campus? NJIT. And basically, there was a lot of things in there that led to me changing my mind to, I don't want a job, I want to be an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And, I didn't necessarily, I wasn't old enough to really take everything from the class, but it was something that stuck with me. And me also kind of like not taking art as a serious path when I was younger, and kind of believing in the starving artist mentality, I wanted to break out of that. Like once I saw that it's a real thing where you can, make a solid income off of art, I wanted to create an opportunity for other, kids of all colors, races, anybody to learn, and then to kind of help them with some of the lessons I've learned along the way.
I dig that. I mean, and you said your ambition started at a young age when you saw a girl tag on the board. So it's very likely that one of those young youths in your class, as young as 5, 6, 7, right, may also be inspired to see first and foremost a person of color who looks like them doing this type of work, right, and making a living out of it. I think one of the biggest hurdles, especially, and I'm speaking from my own personal journey, growing up, especially as a person of color in a traditional home, with parents who think that art is a hobby and not necessarily something you can make a living in. And because you don't have anyone to look at to see that, I think you and I both, our generation was that generation that sort of had to push through that, because we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Facebook, coming up, and those things were not readily made available to see an artist of color doing work in the art field, or doing art, I should say, doing art in the line that we may want to chase or pursue as a career goal. So the fact that you're going back and shaping and molding young kids' lives to help them see what is possible is a really, really great accomplishment. And I'm sure that they are happy to have you there, to have you access to you and be able to ask those direct questions, and just to create somebody that believes in them. I do want to transition because I talked a lot about NYC and your work being all over NYC, right? So yeah, your work is all over NYC, but it can also be found all over Jersey as well. You had two very notable places that I've personally seen your work. One of them being the underpass over on Bloomfield Ave, and which is one of my favorites. And then another one of my top favorites is this ice cream spot. Well, it's really ice cream cookie spot, the Cookie Connect. The crazy part is, as often as I've been there, I would admire the mural on the wall. I've even taken pictures in front of this mural. I had no clue that it was your work until recently, until prepping to do this interview, and I did some, of course I had to do my research. I'm like, oh my God, this is the homie's work. Had no clue. So what I want to know is, can you talk a little bit about these two projects and how these two projects came to fruition?
So the Bloomfield Project was a big deal. That was like the first big public art project I had, and at that point, that was completely learning on the job. I didn't even use spray paint at that point.
Oh.
And I did use it on that mural though, part of my learning. But the theme of that mural was Stay Strong and Bloom Where You're Planted. So the Stay Strong mural was actually a refurbishment where I upgraded something that was existing because so many people in the community who were older really valued it. Like older people were stopping giving me money as I fixed it.
Oh, wow.
Words as they're going to and from work, Stay Strong, probably meant something to them in a lot of different times and places. And then when it came to the other side, which was my 100% commissioned, personal original piece, it was originally, the theme was supposed to be a reflection of kind of what I was going through in my life, which was feeling like I was in the gutter and I could bloom out of that. So it was kind of like actually a gutter in the plants were growing out of the universe that was in the gutter. And that was my first experience with politics in public art, because the concept of, we don't want to present our community as the gutter came about, and it's like, difference in perspectives.
Yeah.
So that was really a job where I learned how to work with other people's opinions and not take corrections or requests for revisions as personally. Mm-hmm. Still something I struggle with, to be
honest. I think that's only human. Like, we all struggle with that, no matter whether it's work related or artistry related. Struggling with taking commentary personal is the human thing. So it takes time. But that sounds really cool. So I do want to ask, you were talking about feeling like being in this space that wasn't necessarily the healthiest at the time you were creating this, and this work that you created not only uh allowed you to gain this new level of expertise in this field, but it also helped you evolve from the space that you were in that wasn't healthy. So my next question sort of coincides with that, because I want to know, how do you stay inspired and committed to the grind? Because as a working artist, it can be very difficult to stay motivated. Once you were reflecting on how you're starting this painting series class, and how you only, I recall going through like your video footage, and you were talking about the series, the painting series class that you were doing, and you only had like 7 people, and then 2 years later that number climbed to like 100 people. So I want to know from you, what drives you to keep going? What keeps you motivated?
I would say the thing that drives me the most is my humanitarian spirit. I think on the surface level, a lot of people can perceive me as somebody who cares a lot about money, but it's actually opposite, where I only need the money because, actually, perfect point. The art and entrepreneurship class required me to ask for donations, and I'm just not the type of person who likes to ask for handouts.
Mm.
So also when you're trying to help people and you're also taking donations, those people have some type of say, they have some type of commentary about how things are done, depending on what their involvement level is. So for me, it's about establishing stability for the community, not just for myself. So like, I don't see myself as successful yet, even though the way a lot of people define successful would be, getting jobs and traveling the world and stuff. For me, it's about creating a level of financial freedom where I can invest into other people freely and give other people an opportunity to build themselves in the same way that I've been trying to do for myself.
Nice. It's funny how your responses are just sort of segueing into my next question, because then that leads me to my next question. As an artist who happens to be a man of color, how important is representation in the art world for you, and what do you do to create more space for people of color in this field?
I would say representation. Representation in what sense? Visually, or are you saying like actually being in the field?
So representation as far as having Black voices in the world of mural, being a muralist who is able to accomplish or get those big jobs, because unfortunately in the past, the art world at one point was very much like, we can only have one Black top-notch artist in this specialty at a time, right? So since then, times have changed, and I want to know from your lens, how important is it, for you to create space for other artists who are in the same lane as you, who happen to be of color, along with just people being aware that people of color are, creating these beautiful works that we see in downtown areas and in major metropolitans.
I would say representation is very important, because for me personally, I would have never believed or taken this path seriously if my senior year I took AP art, and an artist named Tim and K, which is the Me Nobody Knows. He came into my class, and he had quit his corporate job in the art industry a year prior, and he was basically coming to tell us about how through street vending for a year he ended up at home.
Oh, wow.
So that was something that stuck with me all through college. And although I was actually a finance major and I was confused by what I wanted to do, I still kept watching his journey. And eventually that took me to a place where I started to feel like, I must be scared if I haven't done it yet, because I'm clearly admiring what he did and what his path was. So I feel like for me to do the same thing, and that goes to the art and entrepreneurship classes and stuff like that, just being able to see somebody doing it can spark belief in the next person, and that within itself is enough.
I'm here for that, and I'm also here for also underscoring how important it is to create space. Speaking of creating space, I'm actually wearing a sweatshirt made by a local artist, Suleiman. This was in correlation with Project Ready. So I feel like it is our job as, you know, men of color, or as people of color, when we are in a space and we can represent in any form or fashion, that we do that. So shout out to Suleiman and shout out to Project Ready for, again, empowering our Black artists, because I do think that that's important to see yourself reflected back in the community that you're in. But I do want to like close us out. We're at the end of our interview, but I want to, before I close us out, I want to, you know, quickly touch on any projects you're currently working on. And, you know, if you can share with us, you know, how's your vacation going? That would be cool too. Cause, you know, what they call FOMO. I just kind of want to hear what a vacation is like since it's been a minute since I've been on one. So we'll start first with the projects you may be working on, and then you can tell us a little bit about your vacation if you choose to.
So right now, I actually pushed back on my projects. I have about 4 to 5 waiting. I have to check. I am, but in the period of this vacation, I've actually taken that time period to get back to my personal art, because I've been doing commission work for so long that I kind of feel as though my audience doesn't necessarily know who I am anymore. It's been like 3 years since I've been doing murals, and if you look back, you can see I actually have a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking this time period to create work and designs beforehand, so that way at least can give people opportunity to hire me for what I want to do, along with stuff they want to do as well, you know.
Okay.
But vacation wise, I'm in Houston.
Nice, nice. Okay, the home of Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. Hey, hey. Okay, how was Houston treating you?
It's been cool. It's a dope city. It's like it feels like up north vibes, but spread out and relaxed, and everybody good mood.
I've never been. You would think I'm from the South originally, but I've never been. And I need to visit. Like, I've heard nothing but really good things about Houston. One of my friends here in Jersey, she just actually moved to Houston, and she's been like, best move she ever did. So I'm like, I really need to come visit and see what the talk is about. I mean, so growing up Southern, I love good food. So one thing I know that they're going to have is great food, but definitely like the sights and the places to see and the things to do. I'm sure that there'll be a plethora of options. So I might have to come to check it out. And maybe the next time I do that, you can roll with me and show me where to go. But speaking of, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I have a bunch of pieces in Houston as well at this point. And I actually just went to a meeting. I don't like to say the projects that before the contracts they sign anything, but it's a big project in a library that I'm looking to schedule for sometime in the summer. But yeah, you know, it's plenty of work here, Jersey. I think it's just here, Jersey, and but definitely would love to chill with you when you got here.
Yeah, it will be the next time you'll be in Jersey, because we will be opening soon. The museum does reopen really soon, and it would be cool for you to swing by. Maybe we could, you know, again, catch up in person, and then you could get an exclusive walkthrough through some of our new stuff that's happening in the museum. So when will you be in Jersey next time? Do you know already, or?
Yeah, I actually just got a ticket to come back next week.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, so I'll see you. You know, let me know when y'all open.
Yeah, we open in June, and we'll be in touch because there may be some other cool things that we could collaborate on as summer is coming and the restrictions are starting to slack. So, or I should say lack, not slack, I guess. Well, yeah, either way. But we will be reopening soon, and there'll be some opportunities for us to have limited capacity events. So, definitely looking forward to having you maybe come on site and maybe doing some live demonstrations of what you do. We'll play it by ear, but we'll be in touch definitely. But let's shout out your social media for all those who are watching us. And what's the best way to contact you, whether that's through your website or not? So drop your website and drop your social media handles.
So my social media, my website, and my email are all artalchemist.com or Instagram, The Art Alchemist. My website is artalchemist.com. Email info@theartalchemist. The best way to contact me is through email or through the contact form of my website. And please make sure to try to hit me up like 2 to 3 months in advance. because I'm usually busy for that one.
You booked, and that's a good thing. I'm glad to hear you booked. So thank you again for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. We again will hopefully have you at the museum sometime in the upcoming months. And you all may be able to meet him in person. That'd be really cool opportunity. And we'll be in touch. Again, thank you for this. You are a truly humble spirit. If you all watching at home, I told you he was humble. You do all these cool, big, massive projects, but really down to earth. And I really, 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 it's refreshing to have artists on the show that are full of talent, but they aren't slighted by that talent. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and you all have a good night.